Hey everybody, it's good to be back. I'm just driving like I always am when I'm talking to you. Today I just wanted to share a couple of things that have changed in the past few weeks. One, I was really sick for a couple of days, but probably lasted a good week. And then somebody else got sick in my house. We traveled, and so it's kind of delayed me getting another video out. Plus, I recorded a video before one of our trips, and for heaven's sakes, I deleted the dumb thing on accident. Then I wasted a couple of days just trying to figure out how to get it back. And at the end of the day, I'm just making a new video today. I'm excited to talk to you about a couple of things. One, first of all, we went on a trip, so I want to talk to you a little bit about how I drove my car to the airport, kind of what that all looked like, charging it, how I decided to go ahead of time and charge it. How did it do while it sat there at O'Hare while it was very, very cold while we were gone? And I should also say it's a little bumpy right now because I'm trying a different camera. I've been using my GoPro, and I don't always like the quality of it in low light situations. I have a couple of my windows in the front anyways, they're tinted. And so it just takes a lot of the light out of this room. And if I'm driving away from the sun, like right now, I don't think you can see me so great. It just gets fuzzy, right? So this is just a really nice camera with a very expensive lens. The lens has, it dampens the motion a little bit, but the body of the camera doesn't. So I have to figure that out. I have another camera, but the problem is that one, when it stays on long, it tends to burn out. Now, I don't shoot for very long, so I should try that as well. But it's got an image stabilization in the body plus the lens. So we'll have to see how that goes. My body on this one doesn't have an image stabilization. In any event, the other big thing is we have another car. The question is, what car did I get? And also another thing, and this might give you a little bit of a hint as it relates to which car we have, at least it narrows it down. I have scheduled, because I've become buddies, and maybe everybody can do this, and I don't know it. I've scheduled with the Tesla dealership that's kind of near me a weekend with a Cybertruck. So that should be interesting. But that's a few weeks out yet. We just had the auto show in Chicago, and now everybody and their brother is wanting to try that car out. So the good news is I get to pick it up on a Saturday and I get to bring it back on Monday. So I'll have it for a few days. Obviously, they want me to purchase this thing. Now, what's interesting is I'm on a highway. For whatever reason, it says the speed limit's 20 miles an hour, which of course it's not. Now it's switched over to 55. So FSD's been a little weird. I digress all over the place. So today's subject, talking a little bit about out of the box thinking. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, visiting, and just paying attention at all. I appreciate all the comments. I love the comments that are pro the things I'm saying and totally against the things I'm saying. And by the way, if you leave something that's totally against the things I'm saying, and I know some of you just can't wait to do it, I'll leave it there unless it's rude and crude and just, in that regard. But if it's opposing beliefs, I don't care. Some of you leave some interesting ones, and they're so interesting. I love leaving them there because I figure if you're going to take the time to make that statement, and it should just sit there so everybody can see your belief system, which is the beauty of freedom of speech, right? Freedom of speech is a means by which we can hear the way other people think, and they'll also then be able to hear back how people feel towards their thinking, and it might then change them. And that's not to suggest that everything I say is right, but it is to suggest that what I think, if I don't vocalize it, I may be totally in error. And we all make errors. We all make mistakes. We all expand in our thinking. I hope that's our mindset, and we can get a lot further. So on that very note, thinking out of the box, right? My wife has been doing very much that since we got this car. And for all of you who don't know, I've got a Model Y all-wheel drive. I bought it in September of 2024. And, I got about 6,000 miles on it now, a little bit more already. I've been driving it a lot. I've got full self-driving. I've received all the updates. I'm in the most recent version right now, which is, I don't know. I got to figure the software. I've got, now it's warning me. So I'm looking down at my computer, but it's 13 dot, I don't know. It's the most recent one. So anyway, doesn't really matter. Anyways, my wife has been thinking out of the box big time. She loves the car. It's the technology side for her that's just been a challenge. Like, she doesn't want to do full self-driving. It frustrates her because she just doesn't know how everything works. And it's not a negative on her. It's just some people struggle with technology a little bit, but she's done very, very well with it. She's getting better and better at it. And so much so that in December, she kind of floated out the idea like, hey, I've been a little bit stubborn on getting this car. And the reason why I wanted her to get another electric, which again was not at all. I mean, first of all, me buying an electric is so outside of what I thought I would do. There's that. But even more so having two of them, I'm like, I would never get two, which is, you say never. I just completely determined that we wouldn't have two electric vehicles because we would have to have a gas one because, you have to have a gas one for no other reason than just simply that. And some people will argue, oh, well, the gas gets a lot further mileage, and it does. And, gas prices are stupid expensive. You can argue both sides, and then that's okay. But for me, I just didn't think I thought it would be too risky to get two electric vehicles. So long story short, she said, hey, I think I've been stubborn. 2 days after the 0% financing went away. And she's just like, I think we should get one. And I'm like, okay. But I didn't want to keep the pressure on. So I said, all right, well, let's talk about it. And so at the end of December, I dropped $250 down, put a car on reserve, and she wanted black on black, which is cool, different than mine. And I just placed it. I thought, well, maybe we'll wait for the model. Maybe we won't. I didn't know if prices were going to go up. I'm worried about the electric vehicle federal credit, which we can use in two different ways. One of them is with the business as well, but this time would be on the personal side of things. So, because it would be her car. In any event, I just didn't know when all that was going to happen. So I felt a little bit of pressure to get something sooner than later. I had no idea how much they were going to price out the Model Y Juniper, which we now know where that is. And we'll see how the rest of the pricing shakes out. But listen, the deal is, I bought this Model Y because the pricing went down $20,000 from last year. I bought the Model Y because after the credits, and then Illinois now has a $4,000 credit that they're giving, which I've submitted paperwork for. It has no bearing on your income. It really is first come, first serve to the dollars, and low income people who get these cars get the $4,000 first. So, what happened was, because of you who saw my one video that did like 120,000 views now, because of you, I left my code and you took it and you went and got $1,000 discount. And some of you might have gotten more. I received my first discount from my uncle. And so that was super helpful to me, right? And so I gave out my code, and so many of you took the code and ran with it. And then in December, what happened was you got $1,000 for referring somebody to Tesla. It just got to be incredible. And I think I had $7,000 just in December from people using my referral code and me getting credit. It was incredible. And so what happened was that thing ballooned to $1,000. So I got $12,000 in credits to be able to apply towards getting another car or accessories, right? And that's what most people do, is they get accessories. I'm on the website and I'm making sure, can I get this discount with the credits? And everything seemed to say so. I called the Tesla dealership kind of near me, and I said, hey, here's what I want to do. And the guy that sold me the first car, he wasn't there. And I ended up talking to somebody else, and she's like, oh no, you can't do that. It's only for accessories and things like that. And I said, I need you to verify that. I don't think that's true. I have $12,000 in credits. And she goes, oh, yeah, okay. So I'll go ask my manager and then I'll call you back. So then her manager calls me and she says, yeah, I've only been here about 4 or 5 months now, but we just don't do that. It's for accessories. And I said, well, here's the deal. We're going to have a problem. I said, your website is clear as day, says that I can do this. Well, what's funny about that is I put it in Grok and I'm like, hey, Grok, I've got $12,000 in Tesla credits. Can I apply it towards a down payment on a new car? Guess what Grok said? No. So then I said, well, where on the website does it say that? And I went to the website and I looked at it. I said, can you look at the website's link? You'll notice that you're wrong. Is that right? Am I right? And you're wrong? And it said, yeah, I stand corrected. It's kind of funny. So long story short, I finally talked to the guy that sold me the car, Connor. And he said, yeah, Rob, when you come to pick up the car, and at that point, after you've inspected it, if you want to put that credit towards your car, you'll just select your wallet where that Tesla credits are and then apply it to your purchase. And so with that being said, I had $12,000 plus $1,000 from a referral I got from my brother. I felt bad a little bit because I thought he was going to get $500, but because it's my second car, it was in my name and had to be in my name because I needed to use my credits. He didn't get any credit, which sucks. But anyway, so 12 plus his 1,000, that's 13. Plus, I asked the guy if there was any discounts on any cars, like even if it had some miles. And he goes, well, actually, we're offering a $2,400 some reduction in pricing right now on the Model Y, but you'll have to go to this place instead. So it's a different location. And I said, okay, there you go. So there's another one, and that's because of the Juniper. And I think they just want to keep pushing these through. And so I got another $2,400. So that's the 12 plus 1,000, that's 13, plus another 2,400, right? That's 14, 15, 5-ish. And then you add another $7,500 in federal credits. Okay, so now I'm at like 22. Plus now I'm going to get another 4 from Illinois. I'm hopeful. And I put $3,000 down. So I haven't got the $4,000 knowing that I'm going to get that back. And my interest rate was like 5.6. So I got a little better than the advertised 5.99. So at the end of the day, I think I financed like $28,000. That's it. And I'm going to get 4 from Illinois. So it's pretty tough not to get another Model Y. You know, am I a little bummed out? I'm not going to have the new one, which sounds like it's quieter, has better suspension. But, you know, I don't really care if I've got the fast version. I don't want those bigger, thinner tires. I'm very content with the car that I have. My wife likes it. That's all that matters. We're just starting with, you know, EVs and Tesla. So, you know, next car, maybe we'll get an X. Maybe I'll get a Cybertruck. Maybe I'll get an S. I don't know. So I'm not worried about it. But we continue to just, you know, reinvent ourselves. My wife's reinventing herself, which is what this channel is about, right? It's called these moments. It's called the moment of choice because we have these moments where we make a decision. I'm thinking well outside of the box here. And if you haven't decided to get the Tesla, you know, I would encourage you to go try one, drive one. You know, there is an allure to the faster versions. I wanted simplicity, practicality, low maintenance. I wanted as little expense as possible. And so I feel like I have those. Now, how are we charging the two cars? I had it put right between the two cars to begin with. And so I park on this side, the right side, and my wife parks on the left side. We've got the Tesla level 2 charger. That cord is just long enough, like it literally just makes the reach. If my wife pulls up a little bit closer to me, it makes it a little better, but it just reaches to hers. And so we just take turns charging. So every couple, 3 days, you know, I charge my car, and every couple, 3 days, she charges her car. We don't put a lot of miles on. If we put more miles on, then we switch. If I have to do it during the day, I do it during the day. I've got ComEd in Illinois, and so they don't have a really good plan for getting a reduction in the price. It's pretty much a flat fee. There's no in the middle of the night kind of thing. You can get the hourly, but it just doesn't, I don't know. I just don't trust it. So maybe I'll try to switch it for a month and see what that does. It hasn't been unbearable for us. It's been fine. Yes, our bill's gone up, and it has been incredibly cold, which takes me to my trip. So we went to O'Hare and got on a plane, went to Arizona to meet my new granddaughter in the Phoenix area. And so that was awesome. So what did I do to, you know, prepare the car for going to O'Hare and parking? We parked outside a distant garage. I just charged it to full. I mean, I don't rarely do that. So I charged it to full charge, picked up my daughter, and then drove to O'Hare. And I left it there. Now, while I left it there, it was incredibly cold. It was like 0 degrees all week, really low temperatures, 20s at the most. And so it was very cold. I think when I got to the airport, I had 235 miles of range. I did have to pick up my daughter. It was very cold. I had a full car. It sat there. It might have come down another 10 or 15 miles after I started the car. I turned my app off. I killed all scheduling. There was no preconditioning, nothing. I mean, I turned everything off and I turned the app off. I put the car to sleep and I didn't look at it until the day I was coming back home. So we were gone from Friday to basically Friday early morning. The other thing that was interesting, so it was very little, it was like, it didn't matter, like my car was fine. I couldn't park where there's charging at the garage I was at, but it was nice having the ability to park at an EV parking space. For whatever reason, they put them like right next to the doors. I don't know why, like what's so special about us? There was no charging units there. Maybe someday they'll put charging units and it's just closer to the power sources, but it was nice. I mean, I literally opened the door and I walked forward and I just went right into the unit. I dropped my family off and advanced. Now, I will say something that was absolutely awesome and a little nerve-wracking at the same time. We picked up my daughter. So it was myself, my wife, my daughter, 3 adults, my youngest daughter, who's 9.5. And then my oldest daughter, she has a baby. And so we had the big car seat in there. So the car was full from a seating standpoint. And then we had our bags. So I had a normal roll-on. My daughter had a little bit smaller roll-on, like one of those kids' ones. And then my wife and my oldest daughter, they both had a roller that was just a bit bigger than the normal carry-on that you could shove above in the compartment, above the seating. So that couldn't go in, so we had to check that in. So we had a lot of bags is the point, right? So we had 4 roller bags, 2 of them larger than normal. I had a backpack. My daughter had her huge baby backpack bag. My wife had a backpack. My other daughter had a backpack. We had a stroller and we had a baby seat. So all that stuff fit in the Model Y, like no problem. I took out there's like a shelf back there. I just removed that, but everything fit. I used the front and everything back there and then that lower section. But here's the thing. When I got to the airport, I thought, oh my goodness, how are we going to get everything back into the next car, right? How are we going to move our bags into the other car, the other rental? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So when we got there, I had to negotiate getting a bigger car. And that was like an extra 100. Oh, actually, it worked out pretty good. I mean, I got a GMC Arcadia. It's a pretty big SUV. The funny thing about that is that back section is all we had. It was jammed, man. Model Y has so much room. Oh my gosh. And I will say, I had this GMC Arcadia. It only had 5,000 miles. I mean, it's a nice car, right? It's a good car. But it was awful to drive compared to this. Like the steering was like really loose and I just felt like I was all over the lanes. I was driving. I use full self-driving all the time. And so it was just annoying, and my wife took it and drove it. And we were really thinking about getting something like that. There was a Denali GMC we were thinking about, which would have been way more than what we have right here. But she even said, like, I don't know if I could ever drive one of those again, a gas vehicle. I had to put gas in it. That sucked. And everything about it was just a little annoying and frustrating when I've been so spoiled by an electric vehicle like this Tesla. I mean, the software is unbelievable. I've had, I don't know how many software updates. It's all been FSD related mostly. There's been a couple other things like the seats you can move from your spot now. But by and large, this car and our choice to buy a second Model Y, and I'll take pictures of it or do a video driving it sometime, but it's just been a no-brainer. And so my invitation today, I guess, really is think outside of the box. We get in these mindsets like on 4th down, you have to punt in football. That's what you just do, right? Because it's been the culture. Well, there's at least one high school team that I've seen broadcast on the news a few times where like they've won multiple state championships and they refuse to punt the ball. They never punt the ball. And I believe they also always do onside kicks. It's something like that. But for sure, they never punt the ball. And yeah, do they not get a first down from time to time? Yeah. But I think it's like 60, 70 plus % that they get the first down. And that's thinking out of the box. It's so counterintuitive to what the culture of football typically is, right? And so my invitation to you is like, what are some things in your life that you are stuck in a box on, and you need to think outside of the box. You need to consider things outside of the box. To be a critical thinker, and I'm going to be training about 100 leaders next week on kind of conflict management. They're going through a lot of change and, inviting them to think outside of the box. We get so, formulated in our belief systems, right? And so we need to stay curious, right? We need to stay curious. And so in order for you to be a critical thinker, you need to have deep knowledge in your area, right? And so I had very little knowledge in Tesla cars. And so I went deep into it and I studied it and I learned about them. I went and drove them. I experienced them. I started talking to everybody I could about them. And I then could critically think through, is this the best decision for myself and my family, right? And I ticked a lot of boxes in that whole effort. And so this isn't a persuasive video to say you need to go get a Tesla, but it's just my experience on how this car's worked out for us. And it just continues to deliver. And so much so that we bought a second one. And shortly, we won't have a gas car at all at our home. And, I'm willing to roll the dice on that. I'm continuing to reinvent myself in other areas. I'm learning a new career for working at home. And I'm just starting to get better and better at that thing, right? And so we need to shapeshift ourselves. The world's changing. This is an incredible opportunity right now to take advantage of in so many capacities. So that's my invitation. Thank you for listening. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please leave your comments. I love listening to your comments. And if there's something you'd like me to speak about or share, please let me know and I'll do it.